So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Johnny, and we're gamblers.
And some questions to say about the upcoming album, Pulverizer. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you guys feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you.
Yeah, we're stoked to have the album coming out soon. We're very excited.
Yeah, the album fucking rocks.
Oh yeah,
it's different from what we normally cover. We're very big in like rock and metal and whatnot, but Pulverizer, the single, caught my attention. It's just so groovy, and I sent it to Glory ahead of time, and I was like, "Are you cool with this? Like, because this is different than what we normally cover." And we both really enjoyed it. The album fucking rocks. It's so good.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. That might be the most enthusiastic open we've had. So appreciate it.
We like to bring the enthusiasm here, you know? We're excited to be here.
Exactly, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Of course.
Of course. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
You want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Both of them. Well, I did the cover art of Jimmy here. I did the cover art for the album, but really the concept and the title came from. I mean, that song kind of covers it, but the rest of the album really has a lot of the themes of Pulverizer. It's just kind of about life at points where it can be like beating you down, destroying you. We've all gone through stuff together like that recently, and everybody in their personal lives. And Mike has a lot in the last few years to write about, from shit going haywire and turning around on you. But also still kind of a hopeful, fun feeling at the end of processing those kind of feelings. I think that the song keeps it light, even though it's heavy shit. And I think the album cover, one of those things that Mike went through really was specifically a really crazy car accident. I think a relatable moment for a lot of people. But just the destruction of it all, the pile of cars, it just seemed like something really commercial, but also really destroyed and distorted.
Mm.
And I just thought it was cute that it would be like a cute like font saying Pulverizer, but it's like a pile of garbage and trash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Huh.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for the album?
So it started, kind of when the band had actually more or less broken apart. So just to give a little background, like the band has been around technically since 2014, and around 2019, the original formation kind of broke apart, and I kind of reclaimed the band as in name. Like I kept the name, and I said I'm just going to rebuild it. Johnny, who was originally in the band, ended up coming back, and then we hooked up with Jimmy in 2019 as well, and then we started writing. Kind of, I guess, a little bit right before the pandemic, and then throughout the pandemic, writing the new material. We were working with a production team on Long Island called the Brothers Nylon, and we were just, writing, recording, demoing for probably a year plus, and then we started recording what ended up being the final product in like 2021. So it's been, quite a while of working on it. And just, a lot of life happening, and kind of like oddly foreshadowing some of the lyrics ended up being with some of the things that I went through personally. And but yeah, I mean, as far as the writing process was concerned, like it was very much get in a room and just kind of go to work. There are two songs out of the 12 that predated that, but everything else was written. I'd be sitting there, not dissimilar to this, like me and Jimmy next to each other, and the folks that we were working with, and just kind of getting after it.
Gotcha. Jimmy, was there any sort of like difficulty for you like coming into the writing process, since the other two had been working together previously and you were the new one in the fold?
I was familiar with Gamblers. I knew these fellows from other projects. We're all Long Islanders, so you really end up playing with everybody. So I had played with you guys in other bands before Gamblers, and I was a fan of Gamblers and seen them. So I've been in touch and on the outskirts of Gamblers for a while. And I've also been the Brothers Nylon, who we mentioned is like part of the writing process. I was close with them, had played with them, and was a huge fan of theirs. So when I talked to these guys and it was like, hey, Gamblers, Brothers Nylon, working on some music, I was a little intimidated because it's so many of my favorite like musicians around town in the same room, but I was stoked. I didn't doubt myself. I was like, that's cool. I'll get in here and let's do it. It's
That's
gonna be
good.
fun. And it was. The doubt came more in the middle of the process, but yeah, we found a way out. I loved it.
Would you like to expand a little bit more on the doubt in the middle of the process?
Sure. Oh, sure. I mean, for me, it's just as a songwriter, I was very excited to work with all these guys.
Hmm.
And I think so. Mike mentioned there was a song or two predating these writing sessions. That's kind of what I had heard of, like what was the seeds of the new record. And I immediately was like, oh, I can wrap my head around this. I kind of have a style, like I sensed this style is familiar to me. They were kind of more straightforward rock. And I only say straightforward compared to the other tunes. I was like, oh, I kind of get what this is, and I can write and perform right in this pocket. But when we got into the room, it was actually like, no, let's kind of build a new sound and explore new sounds and take these in different directions. So a song that started off as kind of a more straightforward indie song
Hmm.
would go, like, well, what if we took out the usual guitar and drums and it was led by strings or horns and we give it a different feel?
Hmm.
That's when I suddenly was like, oh, okay, I'm in unfamiliar
Mhm.
territory, which
Yeah,
is a great place to be for creativity.
Yeah.
Uh,
absolutely.
And
that's when I was like, all right, now I need to like level up here and like not just bring what I expected, but just be
Yeah,
open to coming and kind of roll with it.
absolutely.
with the change of sound outside of Jimmy, was that outside of everybody's comfort zone, like playing around with strings and changing arrangements and things like that, or is that things that you guys have dabbled in the past?
I mean, when the band sort of disassembled, like the first incarnation of the band, and I decided I was going to move forward and make music as Gamblers, um, it was scary, but also refreshing because my musical tastes are a lot further ranging, in my opinion, than the confines of the original construction of the band.
Hmm.
So, I come from a hip hop background as a producer and playing in a bunch of different types of bands. I'm a big, collaborator studio person. Like I'm excited by all that. So for me, it was like the freedom of just being like, okay, well now gamblers can be anything.
Mhm.
That's like represented probably best in our last EP, which is a remix EP, which is mostly, dance electronic feel with,
Yeah.
guests on it and stuff like that. So like to me, it's like that could be gamblers too, because it's just music. So I think that was like an exciting part of the process with this new record is just, it's definitely a gambler's record, but at the same time, like, it's whatever the song calls for. If we need strings, let's go for that. If it's a heavier tune, let's do that. And that's definitely going to continue as we continue through our career.
So at this point in the band's career, you guys are just a band that makes music, not a band that makes music within a certain genre.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I mean, I'm sure there's like, I'm sure people outside of us will probably be like, oh, that sounds like gamblers, but I would definitely like to think that, nothing's off limits in terms of creativity. Um,
There's a way to thread that needle too, I would say, is that there are bands that have the lucky bands that get to span decades with their career, but like you see them go through changes and different genres. And at a certain point, you can still be like, oh, this is what defines them, something about them in their nature. It's not their genre, but there's something still elemental about them. So,
Hmm.
yeah, all my favorite bands evolve, and we can't help it but to do the same.
Evolution's
All
good.
right,
Yeah.
for sure. So, what song off this album took longest to write, and which one is each of your own personal favorite?
which one took the longest to write, you said?
Yes, and then your personal favorite, everyone's personal favorite.
Well, I mean, there are two that go back to 2015, so I guess technically those two. Um, There's a oh man, I never would have even thought to think about that. That's interesting. Um oh,
Um, didn't Pulverizer go through a little? No, I don't know. There was see the songs that I remember working on the most are the ones that didn't make it.
What?
That's why, meaning like I feel like the good stuff came easy and stuff
Yeah.
where we were like,
Oh, okay.
let's kind of work this more until it feels good. Eventually didn't make the cut.
He
Gotcha.
brings up a good point because I actually kind of forget this too. We wrote a lot more songs. Like we maybe not a lot more, but a decent amount. There are a bunch of other songs from that time that there was actually one like that I was pretty into that you like hated immediately.
Yeah.
Aw.
Like
I
things
still
like
think
that.
about that.
About
Still in my head. That's how hooky it was.
The mask wears you.
yeah.
Well, don't say that part.
Yeah.
That part need to work.
It was called well, don't say it. Okay.
No, it's fine. It's
Wait, that wasn't
embarrassing.
the
Go
name?
ahead.
Yeah, I didn't think it was no, it wasn't. It was called The Mask Wears You.
You get it, bro.
No, but it wasn't.
Ooh.
But no, it wasn't like a COVID mask.
No, you're right. It was. It was before.
It was
that.
like before that, but then like
Yeah.
But that's the point.
there's a lot of
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
there are some negative connotations with it.
maybe, yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
sounds like you would think.
It sounded really cool. There was mandolin, and Johnny wasn't ready for that.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
it was maybe a little too extreme in terms of trying things, perhaps.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. So the longest right, maybe outside of, because obviously you guys said there were the two in 2015, but with the current group as is, was there one that stood out? Or I mean, you mentioned Pulverizer.
I know Lollygag had started as there's a song on the record called Lollygag, and the verse was different. It was like more country sounding. But I don't know. I think you are right. Like the ones that ended up making the record like kind of came together, like songwriting wise. You know, obviously we would spend a lot of time producing it and stuff. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, and maybe this is one of the earlier 2015 songs, but one song called "Too Proud to Be Happy."
Yeah.
I feel like it didn't take us long, but it was like it totally changed
Mhm.
from where it started.
Yeah.
Music and lyrics, like chords and lyrics, stayed the same, like the core song structure part of songwriting part of it, but it turned into a different genre and different instrumentation and took on a very different flavor. So that song got two full like passes, where the other ones kind of like came together quicker. I felt.
Mhm.
Right.
All right. And favorites off the album?
Favorites off the album. Walking away from it, I remember being most excited about Straightened Out when we wrote it. I was like, it's just like a certain fun energy. And yeah, it's just get in, get out kind of rocker. I don't know. It just came together in a fun way. I think I remember referencing a Super Furry Animals track for that or something when we were trying to like write something, and maybe that's why it stuck in my head. It like, a lot of those days were like that. Maybe listen to a song, maybe think of a starting place, and then just at the end of the day, you've got a new song, and it's. I remember loving that experience. Yeah.
I might choose the track that closes the album out called Irish Sports Pages, which is a play on the obituary section of the newspaper. It's kind of like on my dad's side of the family. It's like kind of like a phrase. And I don't know, I'm really proud of that one from a lyrical standpoint, I guess selfishly. And I just think it's a really beautiful song. It's got a lot of interesting arrangement on it that's like very different for us. I don't think we've ever had a song that's like that sparse, if that's the right way to say it. But it's tough. I mean, it's so typical, but I love them. I love them all, but that one,
The only song I don't play on. Nice, dude.
yeah.
What about your favorite, Johnny?
I like King of the Idiots. I think it's like if I could put the whole album in a blender, you'd probably get something along the lines of that song. There's a bunch of different parts. It's like a beautiful bridge that opens up with strings, and then like the rest of the song's kind of punk and rocking. I don't know.
That is true. That's definitely like kind of has everything the album has like in one song.
Yeah.
That one's a banger. That was one of my favorites. Hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
So had the track list of the album come about, did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Well, yeah, we knew it from the beginning. The opener was the opener, the closer was the closer.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right.
Yeah.
Been a long
Damn.
time since we've gotten an answer like that. Everything's been, we just shuffle around. So
Yeah,
now,
shuffle
like,
it.
Damn, I don't know what the hell to say.
Yeah, we don't have a follow-up for that one. We don't prep for that one.
Well, I think it's helpful to kind of have like those parameters set up sometimes. Like even sometimes there's been, I had the title Pulverizer for many years, way before that song existed. We had a demo of a song with the old band called Pulverizer.
Oh, wow.
So I always knew that Pulverizer was a word that I really wanted to have as a song,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It would be the album title eventually, but for me anyway, like I have like in my phone, I have just names of songs that don't exist yet because I'll like a name and sometimes that helps for me, for my brain to organize things.
Yeah.
So I always wanted Sleep In to open up the album, and then when we wrote Irish Sports Pages, which is still hard to say, by the way, for some reason. It's like trapped in your gums somewhere.
Yeah.
That was always the closer for me.
So then, was the middle of the album like purely based on vibes then, or was that also already kind of figured out going into writing it?
That was kind of your thing, right? You were playing around with the track list a lot.
Yeah, we actually toyed a lot with the track list between probably the first and ending song were the same the whole time, but yeah, there was a lot to go on between there, and that's a tough nut to crack, how to sequence an album. Usually I go on long walks or long drives and just commit to do the best you can to act like you never heard it before and just get into a flow with it, and feel it out. But I mean, we've all made records before and we're huge music dork fans, so it's like, and we all are probably in love with an era of music that is more album oriented than now. So I think that there are characteristics that you kind of look for, and like, even when you're writing a song, I feel like at a certain point, like I'm like, this feels like a second, third song kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like it matters less and less, obviously, the way we digest music more these days. But from the artist side, I still feel that, like, yeah, I want to make a record and I want to take a journey from start to end. So, yeah, that's just kind of feeling it through. But yeah, there's little things to think about. There's sort of a common strategy, but it's at the end, it's just feeling it through. I feel that you get to sort of have. I was talking about this with a friend last night, but you sort of pick singles that you're going to feature from the album. But to me, also, the first track of the album gets to be like a secret single if that wasn't a single that you really. I mean, so Sleep In opens the record. It's not really going to be a single that we promote, but I think symbolically it is a great open. It sort of leads you in as a listener. If you were a Gamblers fan before, it's something familiar that transforms into a new sound by the end of it, and then the new record really kind of starts and goes in a totally new direction. So these are the kind of things we think about. I think about it as a listener and what's their journey, and basically I'm mostly looking for any energy drops. If there's a point where I'm totally checked out or looking around like, oh, what? It's like when you're reading a book and you didn't really read that last page. If I have any of those bump moments, I take notice. And I think we had a similar one, and we did end up cutting a song that even though we saw it all the way through to the end of production, we were like, okay, this might be a moment to drop out on here. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we did have this wasn't even counting like when we were saying before, we had a bunch of other stuff written. Like the album was 13 songs long and then became 12. And like that was like for me like a practice in like letting go, because I really liked the song and these two guys didn't. And I was like, all right, like let's fucking drop it. You know what I mean? And like that's just, I think like just moving with the energy of like not getting stuck on things is like freeing, you know what I mean? And it was the right decision though. Like now I agree with the decision now, but at the time I was like, man, I really like that song, but it made sense to lose it, and the album is better in my opinion because of that.
It takes a lot of guts to make a decision like that, especially when you believe in a song so much and everyone else around you is like, dude, like it's not it, and you're like no, but it is, and then you eventually cave to them, and they unfortunately wind up being right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I texted you guys that morning. I was like, "Do you guys really like this song?" You were like, "No."
No, I took a swing early on. I tried to not let it get through to production side. I was like, this
Oh my
song
God.
we don't do. We did it still. And at the end, once somebody else spoke up, I was like, all right, I'm not crazy here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, because I remember we had changed it. We changed the intro.
Oh yeah, we worked on it a
Like
little bit.
we made some concessions,
Mhm.
which that was the right call too, to like chop out the intro. But yeah, maybe I didn't realize to the extent you didn't like it though. Which, you know, next time
To me, it was really just that
you went out
feeling.
of
Whenever
it.
I listened to it in sequence, it was suddenly like oh, I'm like checked out from like I was feeling energy that's now gone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Mm.
sometimes you can't control that. It's not a songwriting thing even. It's just like, oh, just the vibe is off right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So this song is like completely finished, like mixed, mastered.
It didn't get mastered, but it got like a final mix. When we sent out for mastering, we had cut it already at that point. So
Okay. Do you think it'll be
$200 or whatever?
Yeah. Do you think it'll be released in the future? Are you gonna try and save it for another? No. Damn.
Box set.
I don't think so. I mean,
In
unless
50
these
years.
guys wanted to do that, but I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think it's a terrible song. It was kind of
No,
a
it's
weird
not that
take.
bad.
It was called COVID is Good. So I was like, that's not
Rough start.
it's not like a something.
they don't know that you're kidding.
I'm
That's the
different.
problem.
well, I mean, with
Oh.
the mask song, I mean, I could have seen it coming. They could have went together
I
on the
see there's a
album together.
No, that song, just to be clear, had nothing to do with COVID.
Okay, good.
The word mask was in the title.
I know.
Then COVID happened, and it was like, hey, the word mask is in this. Mask means something different now.
It
It
was
was
about
supposed to be.
Tim Carey.
I know. I'm joking
Okay.
around. I know.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Fun
Yeah.
as fuck. So, would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Take the reins, man.
Fucking how much time do you have? It was
30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I got sober throughout it, so that was a big
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I don't know how I feel about it still, but I had to do that.
Mhm.
So that was obviously a big transformation, and then just a lot of like just bad, crazy shit. Like I had a 7-year relationship and I was like a father, I was a stepfather for all that time. And then, I'm not with the mother anymore, so I don't see the kid. Like, so that was very, very traumatic and still something I'm dealing with and processing. I lost my grandfather who was like my boy, I was really tight with him. And then I lost my mom, which is obviously 1,000 times worse,
Yeah.
a billion times worse, but the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But then, what else? Oh, and then I had the car accident and like 4 people died. I narrowly escaped death. Like it was like a fucking bomb scene.
Yeah.
So just a lot of like big shit like that. So that's why I was like Pulverizer just kind of made sense. But then it was also foreshadowing because we landed on that title like kind of halfway through all this shit happening. So my head was all over the place, but I think like, and I've been saying this a lot, so I'm sure these guys are tired of hearing it, but like because I had quit drinking, I had learned how to live like one day at a time.
Mhm.
And I think the one day at a time thing is helpful for grief.
Yeah.
Because you are forced to live one day at a time. Like, there's nothing, and when you're dealing with a serious illness too, like I was my mom's primary caretaker, me and my father. So, I was out of work for almost a couple of months because I couldn't concentrate, and I was just by her side in the hospital, for the whole day, every day for months, pretty much. So, you take it one day at a time. You're like, all right, we're waiting on the next scan, we're waiting on the next test. And then, eventually you're faced with she's, probably going to pass away. And then she does. And you're, just all you can do is do your best that day. And it's like the same with being sober. So I think because of that, it helped me deal with the grief. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry if I bummed everybody out.
No, you're all good. I definitely appreciate you opening up like all the way
Sure,
as to what
yeah.
was going on while recording the record, because you totally could have just skirted around and been like, bad shit happened and this is what happened, but you just went right in, and it's not easy to talk about that stuff to anybody, like especially people you don't know, like the
Exactly.
press. So appreciate that.
Man, like we're just like at this point, it's like, what the fuck, It's like if people are kind enough to want to ask us about our music, like I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. So appreciate it.
I appreciate it. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should you do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you guys personally recommend? Vinyl. Where can you get it? Plug.
Yeah. Where
You
can you
can
buy
get
it?
it at our live shows that are happening this week, and other stores throughout next. We have shows coming up. You can get it there.
I was like, we're playing this week?
No. Do you have any insight into what stores people should look for? It's online, but I recommend you check out the vinyl at gamblers.com. Nope. That's an addiction website.
Oh.
Gamblersmusic.com.
Gamblers Music.
Couldn't get gamblers.com.
So it will be in stores. We put it out through a partnership with our distributor and Record Store Day. So it'll be in like 50 something stores throughout the country, and some overseas and stuff like that. But you could get it right through our website, gamblersmusic.com, or at a show. And yeah, pre-orders are appreciated. They've been coming in, and that's always a good feeling. So hopefully that continues. And yeah, we're playing a few shows this month. I don't know when this is going to come out, but we're playing March 26th at the Brooklyn Monarch in Brooklyn. Big surprise there. With, a band called Felicity, and playing in Philadelphia on the 29th at Ortlieb's with Atomic Life. Atomic Life also features members of Dillinger Escape Plan and Glassjaw. The little Long Island thing for you. And then our release show is in New York City on the 30th. At Heaven Can Wait, and also with Atomic Life, and also a great band from Long Island called Beat Radio, and another band called I Love You, I'm Sorry. And that's our big release show that we want everybody to come out to.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking awesome. I'm so excited for you guys.
Thanks.
So this one should be super, super quick. Off top of your heads, I want you guys to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. 3 words each, 9 total, no more, no less.
Rock and roll.
Damn right.
All right, we'll take it.
After party buzz.
Ooh.
Whoa.
All right.
I like that one.
Hey, Jimmy Nation.
Hashtag Jimmy Nation. That's me. Let them know. They were gambling for me.
Grief,
Mhm.
ecstasy,
Mhm.
reflection.
It's very good.
Damn right.
All right.
Damn right.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I think it's hard, like for me, because you're so analytical and you're so like in the, there's so much administration that goes into putting out a record that I think people, obviously, but like, I think the common person who's not involved in something like this, like wouldn't understand, like, or maybe appreciate how much work it actually is. So I guess that's a good question to reflect on, because I don't know, it's like you're like looking at it so closely.
Well, I'll say as a listener of Gamblers before I was ever in the band, maybe that allows me a little different perspective there. But like, I appreciated how the previous record there was. I looked at this band as fun and funny, and which it is. And then once I heard the songs more and got into the lyrics more, seeing that there is more also, like, okay, and there's also some like real human experience here, and lived in pain and vulnerable situations. And I would say that I hope this record kind of has the same. We talked here today about a lot of heavy shit, but I would hope a listener just goes in, has a good ass time, and likes it enough to revisit. And there's more to explore beyond the surface level of just kind of like good times rock and roll. So yeah, I guess I would say just let the good times roll, and then if you're looking for deeper, enjoy. It's there as well.
Take a dive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfect. That's perfect. So, are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this album, positive or negative?
I was as we were writing these songs in songwriting sessions, and had a very open approach every day. It was like, let's just start in a new direction today, and not being necessarily at the beginning, at least, was just like start a new direction. At the end, it was more like, what are we looking for? What puzzle pieces are missing? But in the opening, it was just like, let's try a new direction almost every song. And by the end, we kind of collected some songs that we were like, maybe this is the album. These are like at that level of quality. And I would say I had a struggle right there being like, cool, I like all these songs too. I don't get what they have to do with each other or how they fit together. Because some of them were really just like punk rock garagey sounding demos. Some of them were fleshed out electronic grooves. Some of them were more of a keyboard driven thing. And of course, like I said, I have my favorite bands are eclectic and they evolve and they embrace all sorts of different sounds and everything. But just going into production, thinking about that, how do we balance the electronic elements with the organic elements and deliver something that's not half-assed, but is like the best of both worlds?
Mm.
Um, and I had to go into my secret cave and delve deeply into some records from the mid 80s where they were facing the exact same thing. Some very natural, great songwriters were getting into the studio at a time where things were becoming synthesized, and found really artistic ways to marry those things and not completely sell the soul of the record. And so I screamed a lot about these records when we were in the studio tracking the final production stuff. Huey Lewis and the News Sports, um, Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual, like a lot of stuff from the mid 80s that was pretty commercial at the time.
Mm.
They did a great job balancing electronic elements and really keeping the soul of something alive. So I remember being nervous going in and talking way too much about it during production. And then listening to the finished product, I'm like, all right, I see how these songs are related. I never want it to sound like completely disconnected unless that's the name of
Yeah.
the game. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyone else positive or negative memories?
I mean, just dealing with we were talking about the production team we work with, the Brothers Nylon. Just like watching them work in the studio is pretty amazing to see. We started calling one of the guys the polisher because he'll just one take every time. It's always fucking perfect. Like, I don't know. He's a machine. Uh, it's a positive.
Oh yeah. Mike, anything?
I mean, a positive for me was actually rekindling a working relationship with Ray Marte, who's in you might know the band Moontooth if you're into heavy music. I'm not sure if you know them or not, but he's a drummer of Moontooth. He was an engineer and a producer on the project, and a good friend of mine, Anthony Lepardo. They co-own a studio on Long Island. They do a lot of great work out of there, and it was Ray like probably recorded the first band that Johnny and I were in like 20 years ago. So it was cool reconnecting with him, and that was definitely a positive for me. I mean, challenging, to be honest, like coming from the dynamic that the first iteration of the band like left in, there wasn't too many negatives at all this time. It's been pretty smooth sailing, and like the band Gamblers has like coalesced into the three of us that are sitting together now. And like I've never had a better time playing in a band than I am right now in my mid 30s than at any other point of my life. Like I love these guys. I love what we're doing. Like I love working together. Um, I'll just give them a quick shout out. Like I said this earlier, we did a radio interview before, but our our record went to production the same week that my mother passed away. Like everything was turned in, and these guys like behind my back went and had the artwork updated and actually put my mom's name in the record and dedicated to her memory. And I didn't know that they had done that. I didn't see it until like I was looking at the very final pass of everything. So that's like you know that speaks for itself. So
Mm.
Yeah.
no, not too many negatives.
That's good. Nothing but positive. That's good. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
The honest answer for me is I'm often getting a croissant or croissant-like thing,
Mhm.
like a bear claw.
Oh, damn.
But since it's a gas station, I mean, look, in life, you want fresh things when you can get them. But
Mhm.
at certain gas stations, it's like, you know what, that packaging is there for me today. I need that layer of plastic around it and its
Yeah.
environment. So I'm buying the nasty packaged, it's like they're like rectangle croissants that have some kind of, there might be Danish a little bit in there.
Mhm.
Those are popular for me because I can talk myself into like, well, it's not a candy bar. The dairy has protein.
Exactly. There's some nutrients there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of breakfasty.
Exactly. No, I
Um,
get it.
Go-to for me, yeah.
Mhm.
If I'm like behaving, maybe some almonds, and if I'm misbehaving,
Chocolate almonds.
maybe some what are the
Ooh.
what's that purple Doritos?
Oh,
The spicy sweet chili
hot
ones?
chili,
Yeah.
sweet chili.
Sweet chili.
I fuck with those
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
pretty heavy.
Those are great.
And then what else? You know, I don't know where are you located, you guys?
New
I'm in
Jersey.
Virginia.
All right. Do they have 7-Eleven over there? Is that a dumb
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
Okay. 7-Eleven used to have these fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
Oh yeah.
that were fucking delicious,
Yeah.
and they don't have them anymore.
Oh.
You know, so that was like it's not like that bad, but it's still kind of not great. But
Yeah.
um,
Probably coffee or beer, depending on the time of day.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Pretzels.
Pretzels. Hell yeah.
Pretzels and coffee, pretzels and beer. I guess it goes together.
So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Pasta primavera.
No,
Shit.
I don't agree with that. I like the pasta part. Primavera is not my favorite dish.
It's just like mixed vegetables. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. There's just nothing that thrilling about it.
Okay. That's fair.
What do you got, dude?
We're Long Island. It has to be a fucking like deli sandwich or a hero or a bagel or a
The
pizza.
Godfather.
Yeah.
You are the Godfather.
Every deli on this island has a sandwich called the Godfather. So whatever that it will be the Godfather sandwich, whatever it is at your local deli.
All right.
you're the Godfather.
I had that condition.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
That's
great.
awesome, man.
So
My
for
aunt and dropped it off the other day. She's like, "This would look really good on your wall." I'm like, "All right, yeah,
Thank you.
it's awesome.
thank you."
It's great. So for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Not pasta primavera.
Mm-mm.
It's food question.
I'm not sober anymore.
We like food.
I'm going probably Taco Bell and pizza
Mhm.
and
Ooh, I know.
wine.
All right.
Classic.
Ooh, adding a little class.
You could do one
Yeah.
of those Taco Bell Pizza Hut combo restaurants and bang it all out in one drive-through.
True. Yeah, I'm dying. Could
Like
you
our-
hurry this order up? You're gonna snuff me out after this?
I mean, I'll probably go with like Mamoon's falafel. I don't know if you're in the city, maybe you would know that, but and then like a fucking 12 pack of ice cold Heineken. If I'm
Right.
going out, I'm fucking going out, baby.
Fair enough. Fair
That
enough.
was my shit. I could still taste it right now. Anyway,
Yeah, I definitely know what my drink would be. Mai Tai. But here's the thing, who's making this? Because like
The
I
We
part
are.
in Death Row.
Yeah, you guys are?
Yeah, sure. We're
Glory
the chefs.
cooks, so yeah, sure.
I do
she
cook,
could probably
yeah.
whip up a mean whatever the hell you want.
The executioner then.
Yeah, who's cutting my head off?
That
Oh,
would be
Shane.
me. That would be
Yeah,
me. She's
yeah,
the
yeah.
chef. I'm killing you.
That would be me.
All right. Well, if I can trust you, Gloria, to do justice to a tiki beverage,
Oh, okay.
Mai Tai with good orgeat, not
Okay.
some bullshit. That would kind of like really do it for me. With like crushed ice. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If I'm getting a Mai Tai and I'm dying, you can get so many bad Mai Tais. If I know it's a good one, I'm dying happy.
I'll make you a good one.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And as far as the food goes, like, I don't know. I'll just tip extra on the drink. That's all I need. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So, if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
I guess like hang out in the neighborhood with the Seinfeld gang, just like hang out at that diner and watch them from afar.
Mhm.
And I guess I could just put on TV and do kind of the same thing, and I guess I do kind of live in New York, so
I also could have guessed by your hat that you were going to say that, but
oh shit, okay. I the answer. Friends.
all right.
Friends. Okay.
Also in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very cultured.
I'm wearing a Friends hat.
Yeah, Matthew Perry's house. No. Fictional world. How about like
I can go. You need more time?
yeah, I need more time.
Probably like I'm obsessed with whaling books.
Mhm.
So like I'd like to be on the ship that goes after Moby Dick. Something like that.
All right, that's solid.
All right.
Ahab over here.
Yeah.
For my Ishmael.
Yeah. Call me Ishmael.
Maybe Gotham City, but the animated version.
The
Yeah,
worst
right.
place you could ever be.
That's New York, dude.
It's New York.
It'd be
Back
animated.
in the fucking city.
There's you guys are so cultured. You guys just love the city you're next to.
I said a book, man.
Yeah,
True,
John
true.
read the book he read in high school. No, he reads a lot.
I
of
picked a
books.
cartoon of these.
You're right. Pick something
Yeah.
fantastical.
All
At
right.
least.
We'll take it. Well, they're all technically fictional. They don't exist.
Changing mine to Gummy Bears, the animated cartoon from the 90s.
Don't steal my animation.
Oh, it's a fantastical universe, and you drink a special drink, and then you bounce around. That's what Gummy Bears are. I don't know if you ever saw that cartoon.
I think I missed that one.
Yeah.
Ryan, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to has said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Good pick.
Red.
What does that mean about us?
I didn't hear Mike's answer, and then we'll tell you.
Green.
Green?
Green.
It doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely nothing.
It means a whole lot of nothing. But
It's just fun.
What's your favorite colors?
black.
Yellow.
I thought, can't you not say black? Isn't that like?
That's
Yeah,
all.
I
Wow.
usually
You're-
call them out.
You're on
for
Team
it.
Glory for this one. Then purple,
Yeah.
fine.
I wanted to say black. But
Yeah. Thank you for knowing that it's not a color.
yeah.
So, as I said, that's all the questions we have today. I know we did a lot of plugging during the interview, but is there anything else that you guys would like to plug?
We have our upcoming show.
Yeah, just check out the record if you can. You know, I know it's everyone's attention is hard to come by, but you know, thank you for giving us the opportunity to chat about it, and yeah, hope people just check out the music, and you know, if you like what you hear, get a record, come to a show, say hello, say what's up, hashtag Jimmy Nation.
Jimmy Nation.
Jimmy Nation.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, silence, guys. It's been Gamblers, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.